Do you know anyone who's got a DUI? Do you know anyone who has been drunk off their head that you had to be the caretaker? Are your family members or friends drinking uncontrollably? This video is for you, but you might be pleasantly surprised at my advice, okay? Hi, my name is Opie. I talk about health, wealth and happiness. This video is going to be a bit of health, bit of happiness, but hang in there. I'm going to talk you through some of my learnings in regards to this subject. Okay, so let me get started. I'm going to put this into 3 different buckets, okay? So these are the people who have never drunk. You might be young and you haven't started drinking. Great. The middle bucket is for people who are casual drinkers. They, have a glass of wine every now and then. They have a bit of whiskey on the weekend. Socially, they have a little bit here, a little bit there. Got it under control. Third bucket is you've lost control completely. You're drinking almost every night. Even if it's a glass of wine every night, you are in this bracket, my friend. You're in this bucket. You get plastered every chance you get. You look forward to the weekend so you can get plastered. If you go by the phrase, it's 5 p.m. on a Friday somewhere in the world or whatever, you fall into this bucket. All right. So as I said, let's go back this way and say, if you belong in this bucket, if you're young enough and haven't started drinking, do your utmost best not to start. If you can. If you can, don't start. The reason why I say that is once you start, there is a good chance you'll move into one of these buckets. To not start, to not get into the habit, to have the courage not to even start drinking in the first place is not easy. Especially if you got peer pressure and your social construct just encourages you to drink. It is difficult. I get it. I've been in the settings where everyone is drinking and, majority of my life I was a DJ, a professional DJ, DJing at clubs. I used to rock up with my CDs back then as well as my vinyl bag, rock up to the club. As soon as I walked into the club, guess what happens? They give me a bunch of drink cards, all free. Thankfully, I never ended up drinking. And I'll tell you that story in just a little bit. But if you can, if there's any way you can sort of continue not to drink, it's more power to you. To not drink, you're going to have to summon something inside you. And the reason why I say summon something inside you is I made a video about, what's your superpower. And what's your superpower is you shouldn't really care about what other people think. It should be something that's inside you that the reason is so strong that you can tell your friends, family, colleagues and go, sorry, all good. I'll just have my lemonade and I'm cool with that, or my water. It's not easy, but it can be done. How do I know? Because I've done it all my life. If I can move into this bucket, and I'm going to come back to this bucket as well. This bucket might be that as part of your religion, as part of your upbringing, you've got the alcohol controlled. As in, it's not an issue for you. You have a bit of whiskey here and there, and you're fine. You're happy. You're not aggressive. You don't abuse it. You're a good husband. You're a good father or mother. And alcohol is not a significant part of your life. It's just, like you have, I don't know, piece of cheese every now and then or something. It matters so little that it doesn't play a big part. If that's you and you want to continue drinking, I'm not going to hold you against that. I'm not going to say no, because you be you. If you're comfortable with that, that's fine. What I don't want you to do is go into the third bucket. If you're in this bucket, my friend, you have a problem. I have heard countless stories of people crashing their cars the other person getting seriously injured, dying. I've heard of just story after story. I've heard of people passing away from substance abuse. I've heard of people coming home and going on, domestic violence rampage. I've heard of people getting jealous and doing all sorts of nasty things. And I'm sure you have as well. What's the result of this? You end up getting a whole bunch of diseases as well. So I've just gone through a whole bunch of social elements, but from a health perspective, I mean, I don't have to go into this. You know what happens to your liver and your other organs when you excessively drink. It does take a toll over a period of time. So if you are in this bucket, do what you need to do to get yourself back on track. If not for you, do it for your family, do it for your kids, do it for your mom or dad, and get yourself back on track. See someone professionally. There are professional help out there. Maybe even a good friend who you can lean on and just say, hey, look, it's getting out of control. I can't not be drunk all the time. I mean, I remember in my early 20s, I'd be studying and I'd pick up some mates because we needed to go and study. And it was a Tuesday morning. Pick them up. They get in the car and go, hey, Opie, can you go to the Bottle-O? And I'm going, man, it's 9 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday. And he goes, yeah, man, I'm so drunk. I need to have some Jack Daniels to sober me up. I don't even know if that's true. I genuinely don't. But in their mind, that's how they were going to do it. They were going to clear their heads by drinking some more. Again, I honestly don't know how true that is, but I thought it was ridiculous. So don't let that be you. Please, whatever you have to do, get professional help. Don't fall into that bucket. As I said, I've got no problem with you moving into this middle bucket. Ideally, if you can move into this bucket of no drinking at all, that's the best case scenario. But for whatever reason, you've always been like this, I've got no issue with that. If you've got it under control, all good. I wanted to tell you a couple of stories because if you can stay in this bucket, if you haven't started drinking and you haven't started, as I said, that is truly the best way. So as I try and tell a few stories. So my grandfather was a heavy drinker and, he'd drink everything under the sun. So I previously did say that I hadn't drunk before. Not quite correct. I remember when I was about 4 or 5, I had a stomach ache. And ended up telling my grandfather, he goes, I got a stomach ache. Guess what he did? He gave me a small shot of whiskey. That's the only time I've actually tried it. And obviously my mom was furious, giving alcohol to a 4 or 5-year-old. But that was normal for him. And sadly, not surprisingly, he passed away in his 60s. So going back up a generation, my dad, ever since I've known him, throughout the younger years, he drank beer just as a social thing to fit in. I'm one of the guys, I'll have a beer. Never drank spirits. But when I was younger, I'm talking about 9, 10 years old, I ended up going to Sunday school. And it was a Buddhist temple near my sister. And there was a very prominent monk who led that Sunday school. And the monk ended up not only becoming really famous and prolific orator, not only in Australia, but Sri Lanka, but throughout the world eventually. But back then, he was just my Sunday school teacher. And he said something really profound that day, which changed the course of my trajectory. And what he did was he basically said, hey, hands up if your mummy and daddy, or mammy or daddy, drink or smoke. And sadly, I had to put my hand up because my dad was drinking beer at the time. And most of the children ended up putting their hands up. So he goes, boys and girls, very calm voice, very direct. Boys and girls, I want you to go home tonight. I want you to hold the parent's hand of whom that, who drinks or smokes, and goes, "Dad, Mom, please promise me that you won't drink again." And for us, it was an easy sell for us because we were told not to drink anyway, but most adults ended up ignoring that and drank. My sister and I naively decided the monk told us to do it, seemed like good advice, we're going to try it. That night we went and told our dad. To our surprise, he goes, "Okay." And that was it. And he never drank again. So for the better part of my life, I haven't had that be my drinking hasn't been my norm because my dad didn't drink. Therefore, it wasn't really normal for me to drink. So this goes back to the principle of if you can sort of set a good example for your children, that's the best way to do it. Because for me, it wasn't normal. It wasn't normal to get plastered on a Friday, Saturday night and have the next day written off. It just wasn't my reality. Does that make sense? Because my dad didn't drink and he still doesn't drink, and it's been 30 years plus. Therefore, I've never ended up taking up this habit. I ended up writing an article about this and a few other topics, and this particular article ended up being syndicated through to several prominent newspapers. And I'll share the links with you in the show notes. Have a read of it because that goes into a little bit more detail. So there are people out there. I mean, in my circles, I because of the DJ career that I've had, I've known hundreds, if not thousands of people. And I can probably count in one hand the people who don't drink. So it is a rarity. It's become normal for people to have a drink and socialize, but there are other ways of having fun and going out and enjoying yourself. Whenever I go out with my friends, I'm the first one on the dance floor, last to leave. I don't need that to have a good time. You don't need that. As long as the music's good, I'm there. Have that positive attitude. Have that positive spirit. You don't need an external substance to make you feel energized and alive. Have that inside of you. Does that make sense? I hope it does. I hope you got something out of it. If you're my kids or my grandkids and great grandkids watching this, make your old man proud. All right, all the best. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye.